Guess who's back? It's Mike Martin with the Platinum Truth. We're going to jump right into what is going on with this MOU, what it really is, what's really behind it, and how Trump is using it as his move toward regime change. You're not going to want to miss this. Nobody else is talking about this. Let's dive right in.
Welcome to the truth, the Platinum Truth. Are you ready? Live from Miami, Florida, USA, and broadcasting around the world. You're listening to the Platinum Truth Podcast, the show that covers everything going on that you need to know about. The people have voted. Are you ready? And now, here's your host, Mike Martin.
All right, and we're back. This is the Platinum Truth. I am your host, Mike Martin. It's been a while, I know. I apologize. There's been some things I've had to take care of, but we're back now. I wanted to follow up on the last episode, even though it's been a little while. And by the way, I promise you, we will get back to regular episodes. You can expect to see me as often as you like. That's going to be regular. That's going to be often. That's going to be exactly how you want it. So I'm back. We're back. And we're going to get really into things. There's been so much to talk about. In fact, coming back has been difficult because there's been so much going on that I sort of didn't know when to jump back in because of so many things we needed to talk about, so many things we needed to cover. So I think we're going to go and cover all those things in the next little while. That has happened in the past few weeks since we've been on. We're going to cover that slowly. There's been all kinds of things happening in Europe, obviously in the UK, Henry Novak, beheading in Ireland, an attempted murder as well in I think it was Ireland as well, Ireland, where we had that patriot was mauled by an absolute savage, third world savage, and all kinds of things going on. I mean, we had the last time I believe we spoke, check the videos. I gave you a rundown on the Iran war, what was happening with the temporary ceasefire. We've now obviously gone into an MOU, and I decided that's one of the first things we're going to talk about. In fact, that's what I'm going to talk about right now. So, if you recall, the last video I shot and produced, put out there, was a video about what I believe was happening with regards to the Iran war, okay? With regards to the temporary ceasefire, with regards to what was going on behind the scenes, what President Trump was doing, what that whole situation was all about with the ceasefire. Now, it looks like I was a little bit off. I don't think I'm completely off. I just think there's been a hiccup in this plan that I put into place, this proposal I put into place as far as what's going on. And the hiccup is this. I think it's still going to turn out the way I predicted in our last video. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Sort of wrote something up and I'm reading from the script I gave. I know it sounds a little robotic, but I don't think we're going to do many more scripts, to be honest with you. I'm just going to look you in the eyes and talk to you like this from now on. So my predictions, I think, are still going to hold. I think there's been a bit of a hiccup. There's been sort of something injected in there where we have this MOU. Okay. Now, again, I still believe everything I proposed in that last video is going to be the end result, and is in fact what is happening right now. But what seems to have been inserted in there is this MOU, is this peace proposal, uh, peace proposal, and I say it with the air quotes because it's not really a proposal for peace. Nobody in the Trump administration, I think, believes this is going to work out as far as this MOU turning into the Iranians abiding by the things Trump and the Americans want them to abide by. I don't think anyone believes it. I don't think anyone is actually, certainly not holding their breath for these things to happen. I think everyone knows that the Iranians are always going to go after nuclear weapons. Okay. They're always going to. That's their agenda. They're never going to stray from it. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter how long it takes. The Iranians are always going to pursue nuclear weapons as their number one goal. Number one goal. Their reason for existing. Their raison d'etre, as the saying goes, as the français goes. Um, Raison d'etre, reason for being, if you know a little something about political speak and international relations talk. Raison d'etre, reason for being, the way it is, the reason it is, blah blah blah. So what's happening, I think, with this MOU, and I'm very confident about this. When I say I think, it's actually I'm very confident. Um, so what President Trump ran into, and by the way, there is something I've been saying from the starting of this, and that is this. I've always believed President Trump knows the Iranians well, knows how to deal with them, knows how to deal with them in a way that no other president does, and no really other world leader does. I think Netanyahu knows how to deal with them, which is basically like deal with them the way they deal with others, which is with force, with strength, with might, with power, with overwhelming uh force and strength. I don't know what else to say. Um, and it doesn't matter whether you like Netanyahu or not. He just understands his enemy, his adversary. These are he understands when they chant "death to Israel," they actually mean it. Like he doesn't believe that that is just a saying, just a cliche, and it's not. Obviously not. They actually do mean it. So the one thing I've been saying, and I've said this to multiple people, is that the one thing I've always been worried about with regards to President Trump and Iran and the way to deal with Iran and the way he's going to be dealing with Iran is that I've always been worried that, and I've always hoped that President Trump does not look at the Iranian regime as the same kind of people as everyone else. And what I mean by everyone else is this. Look what happened with Venezuela. Look at how Trump, the Americans, dealt with Venezuela. They dealt with Venezuela in the manner that every nation in the history of man has ever, save for a few examples maybe, but has ever dealt with another nation or regime or king or government, whatever, is that you always dealt with them knowing and believing that the regime, the people in power, above everything, value their survival, value their lives and their survival above anything. And this is always how you sort of ran your wars and you ran your coups and you ran your whatever, world affairs with other nations. You understood the other nation, the other regime, not the other nation, the regime in charge of the other nation always wants to survive. They always want to stay alive, like literally stay alive. They want to be alive. Um, Look at the way the Venezuelans were dealt with. Okay, they were dealt with in a way where the Americans came in, Trump came in, snatched Maduro. Okay, because he was the linchpin and the main guy that wasn't gonna play ball, right? And they could have killed him or they could have just removed him. So they removed him instead of killing him, right? And they said to everybody left what you say to people who are half sane, who are half reasonable, half rational, or more than half, but at least. You say to them, look what we just did. Our next move is going to be against you, the people who remain, the next person who's in power. Okay. In this case, in Venezuela's case, it was the vice president who's then stepped up. And we're going to do the same thing with you, or we're going to kill you, or whatever. And we'll just keep doing that. And every other leader of a nation, regime of a nation, regime of a country, whatever, person in power, they're always motivated by saving their skin, by staying alive, literally alive, breathing, right? Very few people don't actually, no matter what they say, they don't actually uh, put that above everything. Okay. And everyone kind of knows that at the end of the day, because politics is when you're in charge of a nation, in charge of a government, in charge of whatever, you're doing it for power, for money, for basically those are the two reasons alone that anybody's motivated with regards to being a leader of a nation, being a despot of a nation, being a tyrant, whatever. You want to be in power. You want the money that goes with it, the celebrity or fame or notoriety in reality in some cases. Uh and you're not willing to necessarily most often die for that thing, right? And so when you're dealing with a leader like Bashar al-Assad in Syria, for example, um, how was he dealt with at the end of the day? Okay, he was pressured until he felt like he had no more options, no more doors to run through, no more windows to climb out of, whatever. And then you give him an option and say, "Look, if you fucking leave, we're gonna set you up with a residency in some place that you don't have to worry about us killing you. It'll be an ally of yours. You're gonna have a bunch of money. We're gonna let you steal a bunch of money on the way out. Wink, wink, nod, nod, right?" And what happened with him? Like what happens with all these kinds of people. You give them an opportunity to go run to one of their fellow assholes, their fellow dictators. In this case, with Assad, he was allowed to flee and go live somewhere else and go stay alive, live the rest of your life out. Here's a bunch of money, live your best life, right? Rather than dying. That is how most of these guys work, operate. That's how most of them end up going, right? Very few don't do that, right? And the ones that and almost every one of the ones that don't do that, it's often because they weren't given that option. There was just a moment where they could have killed him, and it's like, let's just take him out. Fuck this guy. We're not going to give him a chance to go anywhere else. We don't have to. We got him. We got him in the crosshairs. So the thing I always said about Trump that I was worried about with regards to the Iranians, I said this to many people. I said this even after I released that last video that's on the channel with regards to what I laid out with Trump and what he's doing in Iran. Um, and I said it before that. I said it to a whole bunch of people. I said the one thing I'm worried about with regards to Trump, the one thing I'm worried about him miscalculating is that he's believing that the Iranians, these Islamic zealots, and Islamic zealots are a special breed. Okay. They are unlike any other, really, in the history of mankind. They really are. It is a death cult, right? It is a death cult. They're fucking insane. They're the definition of zealots. They're the definition of extremists. They're the definition of lunatics who literally believe the things. Almost all of them really do believe that when they die, there's going to be the 72 versions. They're going to go to a great place, blah, 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 right? Um, So what I was always worried about with Trump is I was worried that he didn't understand that with the Iranians is a special case. They are not like the Venezuelans. They are not like Bashar al-Assad. They are not like Putin. They're not like Zelensky if he ever finally gets tossed out of his country, which I believe will happen one day. But that's for another conversation. Um, I always said to everybody around that I spoke to, the one thing I'm worried about with the way Trump deals with the Iranians is that he believes that if you bomb them enough, you kill them enough, you destroy their infrastructure, you destroy their opportunity to generate revenue from oil, you destroy everything. That they're going to react like Bashar al-Assad or like Putin or like every other despot, and with regards to them wanting to save their skin. And I always said, I hoped that Trump understood that that's not who he's dealing with the Iranians. They really do believe what they believe. They are extremists. They are zealots. They're willing to die. And most importantly, they don't give a flying fuck if you destroy the entire nation of Iran. You destroy every single thing that is alive, exists to generate 1 penny of income. If you were to flatten every single opportunity they could ever make money, the people could ever make money, the country could ever make money, I'm talking about, that the people in charge, the zealots, the Iranian regime would say, okay, we've had enough. You fucked us over enough. Our people have suffered enough. We don't have anything left, blah, blah, blah. Can we get a way out? Can you give us a way out? We'll just leave. Give us some cash. We'll leave. That was never going to happen with the Iranians. Never, 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 never. They don't think like that. They have stashed away all the billions. Okay, they've already have it. It's in a safe place. They don't need like Trump to give it to them. Trump to say, okay, go and you can go and steal some money on the way out. They already have that cash. But the point is this is that they're willing to die. They're willing to die. All those people in that regime, say for, maybe like 2% of them or 5%, they are willing to die. They're fucking crazy. Islam is fucking nut bar central, nut bar cult. Uh, it is it is a cult. It is a death cult. These people are fucking crazies. Okay, they do celebrate death. They love death. They think it's amazing, and they're willing to go for it. Right? That's why they're sending their own kids. That's why they're sending their own kids. Okay. Also because they're evil and they don't care enough about themselves, but also because they keep thinking like this is great, this is amazing, this is what good people do, this is what holy people do, we kill our own kids. The Israelis know this well. The Israelis know this well about the Palestinians, they know this well about Arabs, they know this well about Muslims, but I don't think I've realized President Trump doesn't. He believed the thing that I was most worried about, that he looked at the Iranians and he actually thought that if he destroys the country enough, if he makes the regular people's lives hard enough, or even the lives of the regime hard enough, that they will eventually give up. And I knew they wouldn't. That's not the kind of people we're dealing with here. So I think he's got to have come to realize that. All of the things I said in the last video, okay, was giving President Trump, frankly, and I have to say this, I have to be honest because it's the platinum truth. I gave him the benefit of the doubt and built into all of that of what I said, that Trump did not make the grave error of believing the Iranian regime, the people in it, are the same kind of people as the Venezuelans, as Assad, as everybody else that has been a despot, and you give a way out and they take it to save their skin. That's not who we're dealing with. I gave President Trump the benefit of the doubt that he understood that, but it was a gigantic fear of mine that he might not. By all of the talk of what he was particularly targeting, we're going to destroy the nation, we're going to send you back thousands of years. And I'm like, you do understand they don't give a fuck if you do that, right? The regime doesn't give a fuck. The regular people do. The citizens, the Persian people are good people. They don't want the Iranian regime there, so obviously they care. They're normal, generally normal, except for the people who support the government, obviously, but that's not a majority at all. It's a tiny minority, just like we have tiny minorities of fucking morons in the West. Some people would say majorities, but whatever. Uh, I always worried that Trump didn't understand that about the Iranian regime. It appears, I have to be honest, this is the platinum truth. We tell the truth. I tell the truth. Mike Martin tells the truth. That he didn't understand that. That he did think that if he destroys the country enough, does enough damage to the country, does enough damage to the people, does enough damage to the infrastructure, does enough damage for people's ability to make money, because Trump is a business guy, pretty transactional, thinks that's the way everybody is. It appears Trump didn't understand who he's dealing with. And that's why everything I said didn't come to fruition in the timeline I gave it, right? And there's actually more time left because I didn't say it was all going to be done by now. But I kind of put things into place in a certain order and with a, presumed timeline. And so um it looks like it appears that my greatest fear is the reality that Trump really didn't understand who the fuck he's dealing with, that these people are crazies, that they're violent, that they celebrate death, that they don't give a fuck about their country and their people, and they will let President Trump destroy every last speck of Iran and every last Iranian life, including the regime, who will try to survive till the end, but they'll go down with it too, and they won't give up. And I worried about that. I worried that he didn't understand that about them, that these things he was propping up as like prizes to them was never going to work. And it appears he did not understand that, and that's why what's happening now is happening now. That's why he didn't go in there with special forces and with regional allies and some of their military special forces and the Israeli special forces and the Kurds on the border putting pressure on the border and then inserting a bunch of assets and things into Iran so the people could rise up, like weapons, like intelligence, like, support. It appears that that didn't happen in the timeline I gave it because he didn't see far enough ahead to understand that he was dealing with a different kind of breed when it came to the Iranian regime. Now, let me be very clear. That doesn't mean that what is happening right now with this MOU is a foregone conclusion or that this is the way it's going to end, because I don't believe it is. I don't believe it is. What's happening right now with this MOU, make no mistake about it, nobody believes this is going to go to a peace deal where they're going to sit across from each other and sign some document, shake hands, and then be friends and then work together. And the Iranians are going to not pursue nuclear weapons. Trump is going to say, let's do trade, blah, blah, blah. Never going to happen. Nobody believes that. Nobody's going to try for that. Nobody's even thinking that's a reality. Trump has now understood he's dealing with a different breed, a different regime. His his plan to kind of buy them out and send them packing is not going to work. He understands that now. And he also understands that he can't go in there right now and go full steam ahead and remove the regime. He does understand that's the only option. The Israelis know it, but he knows it. I'm sure Marco knows it. I'm sure Hegseth knows it. Marco definitely knows it. Marco knows all about this regime. He's been around long enough to know everything about this regime, know how crazy they are, how you can't deal with them, how they're liars, how they'll never abide by a deal. Um, and so I think they all have finally got to Trump, and Trump finally understands, okay, we got to take a different course here. And I can't go in with everything I got because it's going to be a commitment. Okay. And I believe Trump is ready to make this commitment. In fact, I believe it because he has no choice. I think he knows he has no choice now. He can't back off of this and give the Iranians, whatever, 10 years of lying and cheating. He's going to go down looking like a fool, and this is going to define his presidency. Okay. It's going to define his presidency if he left things in the way they are now or in some path to a deal that will never come to fruition. He will be defined, his presidency, his legacy, in the same way Bush was defined by the Iraq War. When you think of Bush, what do you think of? The Iraq War. Failure, embarrassment, tragedy, you know, all kinds of fucking shit, right? And Trump knows that if he doesn't remove this regime, that's going to be his legacy. In the same way, Iran's going to be his legacy. Failed Iran, embarrassment of Iran, um, bumbling result is going to be his outcome, like it was Bush's for Iraq, unless he enables a regime change somehow, some way, somehow, sometime before he's done president. So he knows that that's his only option. He knows it's going to be a hell of a fucking commitment, okay? Because the Iranians will invite them in. They will have to go in. That's just the only way. Anyone who knows anything knows that they're not going to leave by being paid off. They're not going to leave by being threatened. They're not going to even leave if you kill one by one by one by one. They're going to keep going. They're going to stay, okay? You gotta remove them completely. It's a wholesale, full blown effort. The Americans can do it. The Israelis can do it. They can both do it. And they can especially do it if the regional allies participate to some degree. But it's going to take a hell of an effort. It's going to take a commitment. It's going to take sacrifices well beyond what's already been done with a dozen U.S. personnel already killed and like the 5 planes or 3 planes and 2 choppers or 3 choppers and 2 planes. It's going to go well beyond that, right? But it can be done, and it will be done, and it'll be successful, and it will go down as a big success. You got rid of essentially the number one adversary that you have a chance to get rid of. Okay. Because China, you don't have a chance to get rid of them. They're going to have to go in a different way. They're going to have to basically implode because removing them militarily will be like definitely a world war. Russia's basically the same thing, especially since they have nukes. Same with China, obviously. So it's the number one adversary that you can actually deal with, and you're never going to let them get a nuclear weapon because then they become the China Russia situation I just described. So it's going to take something. It's going to take a hell of a commitment, lots of sacrifices. And this is not a good time to do that. Trump understands that. Why? The midterms. Okay. If he loses the midterms, he's going to have a really difficult time for the rest of his presidency, the last 2 years of his presidency. And even to engage Iran, he's going to have a hell of a time. The Democrats will do everything possible. The Democrats would rather see Trump fail and his presidency fail and America fail while Trump is president than to have the Iranian regime be overthrown. 100% that's true. Let me say it again. The Democrat Party and every Democrat politician, the snakes and traitors that they are, would rather see Trump fail with Iran, fail to remove the Iranian regime, fail to achieve something that the American government itself and the nation itself has been wanting to do for over 47 years. The Democrats would rather see Trump fail at that and the Iranian regime stay in place, particularly during Trump's presidency, than he succeed in it. And if anyone would argue that, you're delusional, you're naive, gullible, or a fucking idiot, or you're just lying. Like you just don't know what's going on. You don't know what the Democrats are made of. You really don't. And it's like, how do you not know by now? They're so despicable, and they've shown such despicable things in the last 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, going back to even Obama. It's really been a slide down to fucking just disgusting behavior by them. Just despicable lows, low after low after low with that fucking party. So Trump knows that this is not the time to do it. He has to win the midterms. He has to at least salvage either the House or the Senate, and he believes he can do both. And yes, the media doesn't believe it. And yes, history generally does not look good for the party in power for these midterms. But you have to remember, there's been all kinds of things happening with regards to the Supreme Court and the redistricting, I should say, of the different areas, the different races. And most people believe the redistricting has caused the Republicans to gain another 8 to 12 seats. And even if they were to lose some seats, if you picked up 8 to 12 on redistricting, you could still win the House and the Senate. Okay. So I believe Trump believes that they can win. He can retain the House, he can retain the Senate. It's possible. I don't think he's given up on that. Okay, but I believe, and it would be true, that if he was to go into Iran right now, as I laid out in my last video, that the media would jump on it. Some of the people on the right that have really thrown in their lot with the Democrats and kind of and betrayed the movement, betrayed America first, even though they claim to be America first. I'm talking about Nick Fuentes. I'm talking about Tucker Carlson. I'm talking about Megyn Kelly. Uh, those kind of people that have done nothing but hurt our side. And I know there's some people probably listening that don't want to hear that, but it happens to be true. Okay. These people are not helping our side win. They are, in fact, helping the other side win. You may even believe what they're saying is true, but they are helping the other side win by dividing us, dividing our party, dividing our movement. And it's just not the time to do that. It's not the time. Just as, by the way, just as we had this massive election in 2024, this massive landslide, we buried the Democrats, we buried woke, we buried their whole agenda. And then now, only 2 years later, and by the way, this is not an accident. There's been some money thrown in to fracture us. These people are now doing exactly that. The people we thought we could rely on, the Tucker Carlsons, the Nick Fuentes, the Megyn Kellys, they're doing nothing but damage. Nothing but damage. Nothing they say is helping our movement. They are, in Nick Fuentes' case, at best, accelerationists who believe let's destroy America, let's destroy the movement, America First, MAGA, because it'll accelerate in his head uh, us getting to a really bad place, and then people will wake up and do what Nick Fuentes wants to happen. And that's just not going to happen. And by the way, I'm not signed up for going through that shitstorm either. I don't want to go through a shitstorm so that you can hopefully get the fucking society you want, the world you want. No thanks. I don't want to go through another Biden era and then hope it turns out the way you think it will because it's gotten so bad. No thanks. And I don't think it's going to work. So I'm not aboard. I don't appreciate these people dividing us, but that's what they're doing. I think there's some money thrown in there, some Qatar money, some leftist money that's disguised as other money, some Soros money that's making its way to Megyn Kelly, to Tucker Carlson, to Nick Fuentes in the form of other money, in the form of a shell of other money. And the question just is if they know it or not. It doesn't matter if they know it or not. That's what's happening, and that's what they're doing. That's what side they're letting win. So I believe Trump understands this is not the time to do it. He has no other option but to step back, put this MOU, put this MOU in place, put this perceived uh, step towards peace. And nobody believes that's ever going to happen. Nobody believes that's ever likely. Nobody believes the Iranians are ever going to go for it. Nobody believes you can ever trust the Iranians. So all of this is to buy time. All of this is to buy time. All of this is to buy time. I'll say it a million times. What's happening here is the things that are being put into place, the things that are being proposed, are giving this administration cover so that enough time can go by to take care of the midterms, hopefully win the midterms, keep the House, keep the Senate, and then once that happens, and the first thing the Iranians do, and it could be something the Iranians have done for the past 6 months, but we're going to tolerate it up until the midterms. Then when it happens again, it's fuck you. Okay, this is done. This is silly. We're trashing this stuff. And then we're going to go right into Iran and get rid of the regime. That's what's going on. It's an entire smokescreen. It's to buy time. It's to get over the midterms, buy enough time for that. Yes, we'll look weak. They understand that. Yes, it looks hypocritical. Yes, we look a bit foolish putting these things in place. Yes, we look a little silly now talking about how the Iranians should have some missiles because the Saudis have missiles. So, in fairness, the Iranians should have missiles. This is just all smokescreen. All smokescreen. Getting to the midterms, taking care of the midterms, and then after that, the second the Iranians do something, and they'll do something in record time, it'll be the day of or the next day after the midterms. It'll be scrap all this shit with the MOU, with the peace talks. We don't believe you. We don't trust you. We don't think you're acting in good faith. We're going in. And then the real regime change will happen. And during this time up to it, all of the things I said in my last video with regards to the prep work that is happening of prepping the Iranian people to rise up is happening right now. It's happening behind the scenes. Everything is being put into place right now behind the scenes. Okay. We got about what, 5, 6 months till the midterms. And all of the prep work is happening now in stealth. It has to be in stealth. There cannot be anything that looks like a possible move towards regime change. Okay. Because all you're doing is you're letting the Iranians prep for it if that's what you signal. So it has to be all behind the scenes. You're not going to see stuff that's like, well, show me evidence there's stuff going on behind the scenes. It's not going to be. You can't have evidence. The worst thing is if you found evidence. Nobody wants to see evidence. It's the worst thing you can do is show any evidence of it. So it's all got to be very quiet. And in fact, it's all got to look like the opposite. This is how you play this game. This is how Machiavelli knew exactly what he was doing. And so does everyone else who knows how to play this game. So that's what's going on. I wanted to make a video quickly. I hope you can all understand what I'm saying. If any of you understand what's going on, you understand exactly what I'm saying. I don't have to spell it out in any more detail than the way I've put it in this video. Okay? So I wanted to throw that out there as my first video back. I'm going to wrap it up. This already has been a longer video than I thought it would be, but I want you guys to think about that. Comment on what you think, okay? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Tell me if you disagree, whatever. You can say whatever you want in the comment section. I'm interested. I want to hear it. Doesn't matter what it is. If you want to say whatever, like I'll read it. I want to hear it. And I'll engage with it too in the comment section, by the way. So, and I'll engage with it in another video if it's an interesting comment. I don't care what it is. You can push back hard, call me whatever. I don't care. But engage with it because that is what's going on. There is no way in hell President Trump is going to walk out of his administration without the Iranian regime falling. No way in hell. No way in hell. All right. This has been the Platinum Truth. This is Mike Martin. I will be back very soon with another video. I'm out.